Right. So should we go into the Jamboard? Are you there already? This is us. Okay, so we're not on page 3, we're on page 4. We'll get there. Okay. Just send the Jamboard link again to the main chat if you're not already in there. So we've got Sarah, Russ, Mark, Judith, Sue. Cool. So are you all in the Jamboard?
Yeah.
Great. So does anyone have a preferred location?
Castle Park.
Castle Park, let's go for it. If you guys want to like talk, I don't mind typing. So,
well, we've got a huge age range here.
Well, try be specific, because there is the idea of this is you can engage everyone, but if you start small and specific, then you can kind of broaden it back out. So let's try and think of one person or one age within that huge age range. And it could be someone that you are trying to engage that you haven't actually been able to engage as much, or it could be someone who is definitely there. Maybe it's probably more useful to think of someone who is not necessarily engaged as much as you'd like them to be.
Okay. Right. I'm going to nominate Brian, who's about 36.
Right. Brian. 36-year-old Brian. Is it a Brian or Brian like this?
Brian.
Cool. So guys,
yeah.
talk to me about Brian. I feel like we all know this Brian, so we can.
He's furloughed.
That was going to be my first question. Is he working or is he not? Because of where Castle Park is, that's very helpful.
Yeah, he's furloughed, but I mean, he will get his job back once the theatres are open properly.
Great.
Fab.
We'll specify this. So maybe he's returning to work like in a few months.
Next month, I think. If all goes according to plan.
What sort of thing has he been doing while he's been off, and what's missing from his life at the moment?
Well, he's kind of rediscovered open space. He's been learning Spanish.
Ooh.
So Castle Park is actually probably a good place for him, because there are quite a lot of mixed nationalities use Castle Park, and actually Castle Park gets a lot of Spanish visitors and Portuguese, and actually visitors from all over the place, really. So yeah, he could. I suppose I could try and get him interested in doing some tour guide stuff with our Spanish visitors, if he feels up to speed with the language, which possibly he doesn't yet.
But he probably wants to challenge himself. So if it would be good to spend time with people who are speaking the language he's trying to learn.
Yeah.
And learning the specialized terms, because he'd need to be able to explain about the river and Bristol's maritime history and where's the castle?
History that once was in the park. Actually, there's still quite a lot. We've got the oldest visible man-made structure in the whole of Bristol in Castle Park.
That's terrific. Now, what's that in Spanish?
Well, I wonder. Yeah.
So, does the city count? I know, using one's own local. I know there are brilliant interpretation boards in Castle Park in English, but would the city council think of having it available in online?
Funny you should say that. It's something I'm talking to the council about. It's come up quite a bit. The history and the sort of answer to the like question, history pops up quite a lot. And one of the things that I've been talking to Bristol City Council about is getting QR codes added to the storyboard, so people could scan those, listen to the story in whatever language they spoke. So I think we have 16. Is it 16 core languages in this country, plus European languages?
I don't suppose he's an actor, is he? What's his job? Just
He works in the theatre. Yeah, is he behind the scenes, or is
he does acting, and he works behind the scenes, and he just helps out generally when he's not actually getting paid. He volunteers within theatre.
So he's a busybody.
Well,
he's a busybody.
He certainly is. Yeah.
I know. I feel resonates. He's an actor and works behind the scenes, kind of a jack of all trades. Just likes to keep busy, stay active, and just be interested in things.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great guy.
Yeah.
Sounds like his communication skills are well developed.
Yeah.
They're pretty good. Yeah.
And I said as well that he would engage well with like some tech tools. So like this QR code, I think if he was volunteering, he'd love that idea and he'd be well up for it.
I'm sure.
Cool.
Might be getting carried away, but you know, maybe
get carried away.
Outdoor performance with his fellow actors and behind the scenes guys. So taking it out of King Street and putting it.
We could do something in the bandstand, certainly.
Yeah.
Like a flash mob vibe. Yeah, that sounds good.
Reenacting something from.
Yeah.
So he would see the park as an opportunity where he could benefit from using the space as well as bringing other people into the space.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Ooh. My thing just cancelled. Where did it go? Sorry, my I'm not typing because my thing just shut down. Feel free to type in my absence.
So we're looking for some challenges now.
Yes.
Money.
Well, he's further, but yeah, when he's getting, I think 80% of his. So, but of course they're not paid much anyway.
So he's managing well.
He's managing. He's managing.
Does he feel a bit isolated because he's on furlough, a bit disconnected from things?
I do try and encourage him into the park whenever he feels like it. But you know, it's one of the problems is he lives out of town, so it's kind of a bus ride. That there's he has got a car, but he's limiting its use because of the cost. In actual fact, I think he's probably going to try and sell it. So at the moment, actually traveling into, you know, because of what's happening to the road system, actually get anyone getting into Bristol Central, certainly Old City at the moment, is really difficult if you're trying to get there in a car. But of course, it's the hub of the buses, so there's no trouble on the buses.
Now I'm out of touch with bus fares in Bristol because I am lucky enough to have a bus pass. Don't all groan at once. So is it expensive to use the buses in Bristol?
Well, do you know, I don't know either, for the same reason. I've got a bus pass as well.
Okay, so one of you young people, please speak up now.
I'm a keen cyclist, so the thought of getting on a bus is, you know, not really my thing. I cycle to the media centre as well. It's just crazy because it's the hills but I think it's not cheap.
It's about £4.30 a day, £4.50 a day to £5.
Oh. Okay, so it's either money or the hills, which are challenging unless your bike, Josie, happens to be power assisted.
Yeah.
Could he cycle in from where he lives, Russ?
Reasonable.
Reasonable.
Yes. Yeah, it's not too bad. He's the other side of Old Market.
I think yeah,
Well,
he's
maybe,
still relatively
yeah.
young, so he's quite fit and healthy, I think.
yeah.
Towards Eastfield. Yeah, reasonably.
Are there any of those scooters, those electric scooters, those of
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're certainly within range. You've got to pay for those. I don't know how
Oh,
how
do
that compares to.
do.
I don't know how that compares to buses.
Yeah, good point.
Does
Mm.
anyone
No,
know?
I've not used one of those. They kind of scare me a little bit. I feel like they're even for the generation younger than me, so I let them run free.
Yeah, and several generations younger than me.
I think they're 12p a minute, but not that I've used one.
Right.
He's like, I haven't got one parked outside my house right now.
Yeah, I think I'd want full body armor if I was. gonna
Yeah.
get one of those.
Definitely.
I think for them to be safe, they wouldn't be cool.
Yeah.
That's true. That is true.
High vis body armor.
If
Yeah.
you've not got much money, so you fork out money on a bus fare into town, you want to make the most of that, don't you? So you want to do
Yes.
and
yeah.
a bit of relaxing in the park and a bit of something else. So going to a park is a nice stress reliever after shopping, isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
It is good use of the time. Yeah.
Mm.
I love Castle Park. I don't think I feel like I stop in it enough. It's very much a pass-through park.
It is wonderfully located for that.
That's
Does it
one of
close
the-
at night?
No, it
I've
doesn't,
never.
no.
No, it doesn't. No, it does not.
That's one of the things about it. Actually, it is a destination park, certainly for the local businesses. I mean, you just need a day like today. The sun comes out and the park fills up. But it's also a very busy thoroughfare as well at either end of the day. It's perhaps sometimes a little bit too busy
Mm.
as a
Yeah, I think
thoroughfare.
so. I'd agree. It's one of those places that when it's hot, you're like, well, would I go there and not like fight for a space or not have place to like play with my frisbee, or would I go somewhere like, I don't know, St. George's or somewhere a bit out of town so you can get a bit more space?
Are you a member of Friends of Castle Park by any chance?
I'm not, me personally.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm a member of Friends of Eastfield Park. I used to live near Montpellier, but I now live
Okay.
near St. George. But I love Castle. I mean, I love all parks.
It's got its own vibe, hasn't it? Castle Park is definitely its
Well,
own voice.
I think
Yeah,
I used to use it a lot more when I was
needs
younger.
all- it needs all the support it can get. So I'm not going to apologize for pushing Friends of Castle Park Facebook group. If there's anyone listening, I will happily welcome you into the group.
I would love to join.
That'd
Yeah.
be great.
We should do a
Fantastic.
thing at the end where everyone makes a pledge to join each other's Friends of Parks.
Yeah.
There was something that came in my mind earlier when we were all talking about, I was taking notes about the idea that there's loads of different people and different groups trying to kind of do the same thing, but it's that idea that you want to join forces and it's more effective that way. And that's very similar to what's happened in Norwest. And as a result of that, I don't know if you've heard about the Alliance, but the Norwest Alliance was formed. So instead of trying to be one and just be one, I guess, entity, each entity has joined in as an alliance, and they communicate, share, they kind of make sure they're not stepping on each other's toes, but also just make sure that they all know what everyone's up to and they can support each other as and when. And that has been super, super effective. It's not specifically rated to the parks, it's to do with everything, the community. Yeah. But it might be a nice idea. You're such an amazing group. You're well connected to each, place across Bristol and beyond in Bath. It might be an idea to start creating some alliance. Or
there's the Parks Forum in Bristol, isn't there?
And you're all a part of it.
Yeah. Yes. Friends of Castle Park is a member of the Bristol Parks Forum.
There's nothing quite like that in Bath, is there?
I was just wondering whether I'm missing out here. Each of there's Friends of Bloomfield Green, Friends of Alexandra Park, which are the two closest to me. I don't, and obviously there's overlap geographically, I don't know that they're as organised as having their own forum. That sounds like a good thing to ask about.
That's
whether-
partly why we're organising these training sessions to bring people together.
Yeah,
So
great.
yeah,
There's-
it's great to
there's
share.
There's the Bristol and Baths Park Foundation.
But
Yes,
yeah, that's us.
You could do
So
something through
us
them.
putting the training on through our Your Park initiative. So so yeah, so we're an independent charity, small,
But
Yeah.
mighty.
people to link together. So yeah, we're exploring opportunities to do things that will benefit groups. So raising money for a small grants fund and bringing people together for training. So we're all part, you're right, we're all part of the picture and
Yeah.
doing things together. Yeah.
It's great. Cool. Does anyone else have anything to add to Brian's persona? He lives out of town, but his local park is Castle Park. He's currently furloughed, but hopefully will return to work next month, fingers crossed. His challenges are traveling to town and not a lot of money. I think we could think more about his challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any more challenges? He's 36. Does he have kids? He doesn't have kids?
No, he doesn't. No.
He doesn't. Does he want kids? That's not
He
really
has-
an issue.
Well, he has a partner.
He has a partner.
Yeah.
And maybe he's thinking, oh, I don't know, maybe he's not thinking about kids. He just has a partner. He's 36. He's living his,
Yeah, he has a male partner.
he's a male partner.
If you were going down to Castle Park for the whole day because he could at the moment, and say his partner's coming in at lunchtime, where would they go for a little light refreshment? Would you expect the partner to bring a picnic, or is there fabulous street food?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
We've got
Beautiful.
St. Nicholas Market on the doorstep. and
Right. Well, that
Probably
sounds
the best
The best.
street food in town.
Definitely.
But there's also Castle Park has got 2 concessions, and it's about to have a third.
Ooh.
Oh, how does
The vaulted chamber, which is the only remaining bit of the castle, is being turned into a restaurant or cafe. That's being run by Bristol City Council. I didn't think they were into catering, but I think they do Blaise Castle
right?
and Ashton Court. Do they?
Yeah,
Have they
in
got-
which case, I've drunk their coffee and lived to tell
Yeah.
the tale.
If I'm not mistaken, I think they're actually run by Bristol City Council.
Yeah.
Which seems a little odd, really, because that's not their business, is it? Really, they're not in the business. They're not in the hospitality trade, really. But anyway, that's their plan, and it's going through the fitting out stage at the moment, and they hope to have it ready by the end of next month, I believe.
Right, I'm going to pencil in a visit then.
So that'd be good, yeah. I mean, because the old part of that building is over 800 years old, and it's beautiful inside. It really is quite special. And if they can tough it out until Castle Park View is finished, you know, the tallest,
Well,
well,
we're
it
going
will
to
be
go
the
back into the
tallest
name
building in
of
Bristol, then that's going to have 800 residents right on their doorstep,
Fantastic.
who will all have to pass through Castle Park to get to anywhere.
Wow.
When they arrive, they must be sucked into the Facebook group immediately.
Well, yes, I was going to try and make it a prerequisite that
Yes.
you actually occupy any place, any flats in the building that they were going to have to join Friends of Castle Park.
Right, lurk by the dustbins and trap them as they come out.
Yes.
We got some strategies going on in this room.
There are.
Real-
Yeah.
Okay, I've just added one more thing to Brian's
Okay.
challenge, which was finding time to do all of his hobbies as a challenge.
Right. Yeah.
He's such a free spirit, but he's
You are now in the main session. That's what it says.
Done now. Yeah.
Ah, hello.
Right.
Ah, good. It's like, where are you? Cool.
We
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
need to mute our microphones again.
Perfect. No. Stay open. I think it's more natural, unless there's like a rave going on in the background.
It's over.
Yeah, there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed that activity. I hope you understand the use of the activity, but we'll kind of go use it a bit more later on. We're going to have a break. We're going to have a 5-minute break, screen break, and then we'll come back. Annalie, I don't know what time we're on. Are we late? Are we ahead? Are we behind?
Well, we would have liked to share with each other what the personas were that we did. So that's what we just haven't done. So if you wanted to do that for 3 minutes and then we have a break, or we can just have a break.
Yes,
and
please.
then we'd leave the sharing. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I'll nominate someone from my group to share with the rest of the other group our chosen persona. So I feel like Russ, you'd be a good person to share the persona to the other group.
Do you want to share your screen, Josie?
Yeah, sure. Oh, so many things. Here we go.
Thanks.
So, oh, that's the wrong one. So many screens to share, sorry. I've got like 10 screens open right now.
Sorry.
It's okay. Just making it work. Okay, Russ, do you want to talk through this Persona 3 to everyone?
Yeah, this is Brian, someone I know from Castle Park. He's 36 years old. I think he'd make quite a good tour guide. He's very good with other people. He works in the theatre, mainly Bristol Old Vic. He's furloughed at the moment, hoping to get back to work next month, but that's not guaranteed yet. He has been putting his furloughed time to good use in that he's been learning Spanish. I don't know how well advanced he is and whether or not he's advanced enough to be a tour guide around Castle Park, because there is a lot to talk about in Castle Park, particularly the history and that. And we do get a lot of Spanish and Portuguese visitors coming there as well. And I'm sure that would be a really good outlet for him. So perhaps he could do some performances. I'm sure, he's got all the connections within theatres, so he will know the actors and the producers and the directors and all that. And maybe he could do something in the bandstand.
That was everyone applauding you, Russ.
I didn't think it was. No. So he's found extra time to spend in Castle Park. So I think that probably pretty much covers his interest in that. A couple of challenges. I don't think they're particularly big. I mean, he hasn't got a lot of money because he's furloughed. If he has to come to Castle Park, he's got to pay either for the bus or to hire a scooter. I'm not sure he'd be up for scooter hire, but otherwise he'd come on the bus. And limited time. Although he's furloughed, he does have he does do quite a lot of things. He lives with a partner. Stage of life. Let's see. Yeah, he's got a male partner. Lives out of town. And I think that's it.
Fantastic. Thank
3
you.
cheers for Brian.
Hip hip hooray. Sorry, Annalie, I did have to mute you, but I will unmute you if you like to introduce your persona. Thank you for that, Russ. Oh, hello, Terry.
That's fine. Yeah, who would like to talk about Terry? Come on then, not all at once. Go for it. You can do it.
Shall I do it?
Yeah, go for it,
Right,
Jackie.
okay.
You.
We picked a teenager, non-defined sex, because we're up in Hartcliffe, and what we're particularly trying to do is engage the children as much as possible so they can take ownership of the park and hopefully stop destroying it if they take ownership of it, is the master plan. So their interests, music, meeting and hanging out with their friends, nature. They're part of a youth group that they go to regularly. And it's really important for them to have their voices heard and not to feel that they're kind of left out of all decision making around them. A stage of life, a teenager. Wants some physical activity to keep themselves occupied and very tech savvy. They need a place to hide away from the parents and be independent and start developing themselves. But they can have a lot of academic pressures because at 13 they're just picking their options, and that's when kind of school and life starts to get scary, without the mention of all the hormones and everything else that's going on at that time. They still want to look cool in front of their friends. That's kind of like majorly important. Appearance is everything, isn't it? They may have problems at home and be in difficult situations, and they could be surrounded by a lot of like mental health and social struggles within the family unit. And then it's just like this, I suppose this was more for us. It was like, what platforms would they be using? How do we actually reach them? Because it's very different than what us 50-year-old people use, kind of. I don't think anybody that age even knows what Facebook is nowadays, do they? So and that's just about all we mastered, and we haven't quite mastered that totally. But yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Jackie. That's a good, really, really good start. That's great. Fantastic.
Cool. So we've overrun by 5 minutes only, and that gives us now time for a break.
Okay. Great. So we'll come back just before 5:50. Please be prompt and make sure you move away from the screen, stretch your legs, close your eyes, do what you got to do. Okay. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm grounded, protected, and powerful. 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 growing pains have left stretch marks like corduroy across my skin. The texture tells tales of trauma that has been long forgotten. Once upon a time, from the beginning of moments when all I knew was how to catch my breath, running my fingers across terrain, I never forgot how to breathe. And longing for the days when my lungs didn't betray me. No one told me that growing up was a strength. That someday it feels like your bones are growing faster than your skin. The one dream that's too big will push you over the edge. Wishing that my seams had been overlocked, that my hem would unravel at the slightest inconvenience. Held together by a tack embroidered through my veins, reminding me that I have survived every single wet storm. That expansion is in my nature, but that doesn't mean it won't hurt. That my pain for sure is a testament to who my creator is, to who my ancestors are. That I am more than a wildest dream. I am a manifestation of everything they fought for with blood and sweat and poems and sonnets and music and dance and joy and food and shovings and offerings, so I offer my manic and perfect body at the altar as a sacrament to show my gratitude. That I even have the capacity to exist in my contradictions. I am inherently eccentric. And every time I am brave enough to allow myself to walk along the veil without judgment, I live in my stretched relief and compliance.
Hi, thank you. Good.
Hey.
This is Carolyn. I can't make the last half hour.
We'll
That's okay.
just get some water.
Thank you.
Hi guys, hope you enjoyed stretching your legs. Me and Annalie were lucky enough to see some of the performance outside. It was beautiful. Sorry, a bit late, so sorry.
There you go.
I missed the end bit.
I know. Oh, bless him.
I know, so beautiful. Ooh, okay, we all feeling well braked? I hope so.
Yeah, let's need it. Thank you.
Wicked. Okay, so let's move on to, I'm not even sure where we are. Okay. So now we have thought about who we are trying to engage with, potential people. We need to figure out now what type of content is relevant to those people. So when we're thinking about the message we're trying to get across, we should always have in mind who we're trying to get it across to and how, which you kind of already explored before, how that will be engaging for those specific people. So as we continue with this, it would be good to think of in the context of your personas or your group at least, so your park, which I'm sure you'll do anyway. Who Okay, what's engaging? What can we share? Okay. So we'll go back to the Jamboard. I think this is the last Jamboard activity. So don't worry about looking at the screen for now. And if you go to the top where this rectangle is, if you go to page number 5.
Can you stop sharing your screen again so I can do it, please?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Very hot in here. So, thinking about what our message is, what are the key words, what's the key message? Is there anything you don't want them to think and might be related to what was discussed this morning? And is there a call to action? So we could this is kind of thinking about the brand or the strategy, the park in sense of a brand, if you will, or a community or a group. So this can be maybe if each group or part wants to choose a different color, might be useful, or we can just kind of do it collectively, that's fine. But anything that comes to mind. So kind of what we discussed earlier. What's your key message? What are any keywords, any key messages, and anything that you're trying to get across to the people?
You want us to just write things on, yeah?
Yeah, so if you remember, it's just that left sticky note on the top.
Sorry, guys, we're breaking up there, Josie.
So it's just the just
Can
explain.
you guys hear me?
I haven't got access to the Jamboard. Where has it gone?
I'll reshare it for you. It should be in the chat, but I will.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Right, so there's a few things that you've already discussed already, but it'd be great to, we go, love your park. The park is for everyone's ages. Yeah, so we spend a few minutes populating this board with some of the things to consider.
Did you say we wanted to be on page 5?
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks for checking.
Yep.
You there?
Yep.
Fantastic. Some great things coming through.
I don't know, Sarah, are you able to see anything, or are you taking a pause at the moment because you don't have it?
I can't see it, but I'll wait till you're finished and sort of listen to the discussion part. That's fine. I can always catch it on the recording.
Okay, we can start reading them out anyway. It's not a
These are lovely messages.
Josie, do you want to read some of the stuff out already?
Yeah, I'll let them just.
Okay. Cool.
Ooh. So the first one I'd love is use it or lose it. That's very good, quite succinct and very relevant. Bring a friend, enjoy the sun, trees and grass. The park is for everyone, all ages. Idea of being welcome, have fun, enjoy the sun, green guy. Yeah, I love that. Love your park. Your park is here for you and keep you well. Lovely messages. We need your help. More practical things as well. Please care for the park and what happens within it. Get involved, meet like-minded people. Use a platform to update on the volunteering opportunities. Yes. It's a safe space. That's a safe place. That's really important, that is, because I think, yeah, it's there's a lot of issues around feeling safe in public spaces, especially at night. Rediscover nature in your city. Find out about the history. Love nature, love your park. Join Friends of Castle Park to track activities. We should all be joined Castle Park by the end of this workshop. Oh, anything else? We've got about another minute on this because we're slightly behind. Everyone's welcome. These are really positive messages, which is great. Cool. So I'm going to reshare my screen. Yeah, am I? So much admin. Am I breaking up? Did you say, Andy? I'm okay. You can hear me, yeah? Good.
Sorry, are you playing? I'm just checking if it's okay for everybody.
Maybe it's your end, I'm not sure. Can you guys see my screen? Okay.
Yeah, but it's your emails, not the Jamboard.
Yes.
Oh, really? That's
Right.
That's not a good sight. 50,000 unread emails. God. So apologies. Okay. Here we go. Can you see my email still, guys? Are you still?
No,
presentation.
we're on the slideshow now.
I hope you're not too scarred. Right.
So we're seeing the presentation. Is that what you want us to see?
Yeah. So we've I can't do both the Jamboard and the presentation, unfortunately, but it was just a quick, think about what kind of things that we want to share. Great. So back to the main aims about recruiting volunteers, publicizing events, and documenting and sharing what you do is kind of the things that you've covered already, which is great. So yeah, so these are kind of some of the specific things that we could share, what types of content we want to share. So there's like what message you want to get across, and then it's like how will you communicate that? So what type of content can you use to communicate that? So news and updates, success stories, requests, feedback, competition polls, and we'll go more into this competition polls, the invitations to events and groups. So yeah, how will you communicate these messages? Obviously, they'll be different for different people on different platforms and different messages. I think there was a question at the very beginning about what to post on Facebook, and do I post an image? Do I post a bit? Short answer is yes, always. You probably would agree, maybe I'm a visual learner, but mainly social media platforms, you'll get the most engagement from sharing something that has some sort of media alongside it. Always, always, always. So however that's easiest to you, it could be film, it could be picture, it could be a GIF or a meme. Kids love a GIF and a meme. Obviously always with a bit of text for context as well though. But thinking about, how we engage different audiences, very, very, very important to think about how we'll make this accessible. And platforms like Instagram are kind of quite ahead in the game in terms of making sure content can be digested in an accessible way, so you can have live captioning, and there's various other plugins that you can get as well. But always thinking about how you make it interesting. Oh, another idea as well, which me and my colleague were talking about when we were planning for this session, was the idea of having platform takeovers. So maybe someone like a Brian could do, if Brian has his own following and he's also interested in the Castle Park parks, if he did a takeover on their social Instagram and kind of took people round, it's a very common thing to have, like, say, influencers do takeovers.
So can you just explain what a takeover is, please?
So it's kind of like literally in the name. So if Brian has his own audience, he does his own thing, and the parks has their own platform, the parks will announce that Brian from, I don't know, Actor Theatre is going to do a takeover on Wednesday. So when Wednesday comes, he'll literally log into the platform and it will almost be like a day in the life with Brian. So he'll basically create all the content for that day, but in the way that he would communicate it. So it would be separate in a way from how the Castle Parks would do it, because it's his takeover. And the benefit of that, I guess, is that he's sharing it to all of his audiences, like, directly, and it's just a breath of fresh air. And you'll always find that each person's individual, and they'll always have their own kind of way of using the platform. So it keeps it fresh, it keeps it updated, and it keeps people interested. So this, can you see the 3 pictures? So I can't see it anymore.
Yeah.
So this is just, I just put this in there as a little example of one of the tools or features on Instagram. And it's a really, really useful feature to kind of do a bit of research and engage with your users. Sorry if you're not the kind of Instagram savvy, but we can go into later. Sorry. But similarly to what we were saying this morning about trying to just find out about what people want and just share things and ask questions, there's literally a poll feature on your Instagram stories where you can ask a question, you post it on your story, and people submit their answers. And within that, you can select if it's qualitative or quantitative. You can add media. So there's a pretty little picture of the sunshine just to make it look cool, because people just love images, like I said. And then say I think it's set up for about 24 hours. And after 24 hours, you can go into your insights and get all of your responses. And that is literally just a piece of research that you've undertaken on social media. So you could literally ask a question like, this is a very common thing as well. You could literally say, what do you want the parks to cover? What do you want to see? And then you can either give 3 options and be like, do you want to see pictures of birds? Do you want to see this? Do you want to see that? Or you can just keep it open with a type something box, and then people will just let you know what they want. So that is
so is that only on Instagram that does that?
Yes, this is only on Instagram.
Can I just ask a question about stories then, please? Because what is the point if it's only 24 hours? Why? I mean, we're just doing a survey at the moment. We really, really want people to be thinking about it, and we'll be sending out reminders. Putting something up that someone might miss who only goes in once a week to look at stuff, they'll miss it. So why do people do it? Is it because the people they are engaging with do look at it all the time and won't miss the story?
You've half answered that question. That's definitely true. There's a massive difference between like proper surveys and Instagram surveys. The effort taken to, the way people engage on Instagram, a lot is to do with stories, but the effort level to type an answer into a box on Instagram would be so minimal compared to going through like a 10-minute survey. So you'll find that the certain user groups, especially my generation, will be on the app enough to see it. And if they do miss it, they might miss it. That's, you might miss a survey as well. But yeah, there's definitely a benefit in using stories, and also within that you can see who's viewing your stories, and you can check what times people are most active. I think I saw a hand, Annalie.
Yeah, hi. I was just thinking in terms of this, is the profiles, do you have the profiles more or less who's on which platforms in terms of, we were looking at personas. So do we have an idea where those people might be?
You're asking everyone. Hi, Russ.
I'm asking you.
What out of those 3 people we spoke about in the personas?
Yeah, it's just like Instagram. That's more, it's 20 somethings, are teenagers on there?
Yeah,
that type of thing. It's just to know where they are, where are our audiences finding ourselves. I'm asking you actually just to clarify.
Well, I definitely don't have all the answers. This is the aim of this workshop, to kind of figure that out collectively. But yeah, definitely my generation are on Instagram 100%.
Instagram, yeah. And Facebook?
Yeah, but not the difference. There's a massive difference in why you would use Facebook. You use Facebook for events, for contacting people, for groups. So groups of you all have a groups of parks. Instagram is like a bit more quick, a bit more visual, a bit more engaging, a bit more fun. That's hence why a story would be useful. And the fact that it runs out in 24 hours means people react to that kind of time limit. It's like when you put a call out and you're like deadline, and you give a deadline, that gives people a call to action to actually go towards that and do that, rather than just a big open call out that can kind of be done whenever, wherever. Does that make sense?
What about Twitter? Where does Twitter fit in? Is that somewhere in between, or? I
mean, these are all subjective in some way as well, but Twitter, I'd say, yeah, somewhere in between. Some people, Twitter's a I sometimes feel like Twitter's a bit of a Marmite, and some people like love or hate it. But Twitter, and we are going on to this, by the way, guys. So Annalie, okay. Twitter's more informal, chit chat, but also you get a lot of formal and news updates on there. It's way more conversational. So you find, I think, I don't know, I can't remember what age Brian was. Was he 36?
Yeah.
Yeah. Brian, I would imagine Brian would be or like to be on Twitter.
Right.
And also it goes down to your profession, your interests. You have a Twitter account, you said, didn't you, Sue? So you have your hand up, and Russ.
Yeah, as I say, it's good for links, building links and partnerships.
Absolutely.
So getting involved with other groups. And there is a poll feature on Twitter, so you can run a poll. I haven't done it myself, but that's quite an interesting feature. But it's sort of challenge, isn't it? If you're not on a platform that a lot of people use, how do you deal with it? So you, like you say, invite someone to come in and take over your account, but it might not reach people because they use a different platform. One bit of advice that we learned in a workshop recently was maybe ask an organization that does have an account that, say, reaches teenagers to host some of your information, so that then they can share it, because you're not going to be able to attract all those people to follow you instantly. But if they put out some information on your behalf, on a platform that teenagers use, they are getting that information through to them, but in a bit of a different way. Is helpful.
Yeah, I forgot about the poll feature it's on the status part, isn't it? Yeah, there's a poll feature on Twitter as well.
Yeah.
So where are we now? This is just a kind of quick one about how to vary your content. So the rule of thirds. So you should never be doing or sharing the same content. So you should never just be sharing updates. You should never just be asking a question. You should never be just promoting something. Always vary your content. So we say a third to make recommendations. And this is where the more you stroke someone's back, the more they'll do you. So trying to find and look for an organization or place that are doing it well, and engaging with them will benefit you tenfold, because they'll start sharing your stuff. Their followers or etc. will be more interested, or you'll be more visible to those people. Third being chat and answering questions. So there should always be an element of not necessarily always sharing stuff, but just engaging with people. I, on some of my personal platforms, have draft replies, so that when I share something and I get responses, I have a personalized response to send to everyone. So they keep coming back, if you will. But it's more just about the fact that they feel listened to, and it's almost a sense of community there. And then another third is promoting, so talking about yourself, inviting people for help, or this is maybe, but this could change as long as it's a rule of third for each platform. So back onto what we were just saying, what Annalie asked before.
Can I quickly?
Yes.
Sorry, can I quickly interrupt? You were saying you have an automated, personalized response. Yes?
It's not automated. I have it drafted.
Yeah, so no, I was just thinking about, like, the bulk of work. I mean, it's obviously so much stuff on this that you need to answer this or someone this or comment. Automation, I'm not sure if we're covering today, but it's like the features around that to automate some things, or to have drafts, or even if it's just a spreadsheet where you've got those text copy and you even copy and paste it in or something.
Yeah, we will
to save time.
We will cover that, yes. So how you should vary content when cross-posting, and what platforms to use. So we'll have a quick discussion about what we just spoke about, I guess. So in my mind, Twitter is more conversational, and you kind of share thoughts and news. Instagram is imagery-based, heavily imagery-based, but also there's really good features for businesses, shops, and aesthetics. So you can buy stuff directly from Instagram as well. And Facebook, maybe I should say statement. It is still conversational, but it's a bit more a place where you go to make a statement, share personal things, and it's amazing for events and groups. Rising Arts Agency are an amazing example of people that are doing it really, really well. So if you don't know who they are, they're a non-profit creative agency that support young people. And the reason why they do it so well is because they're all led, and it's all for and by the people who they aim to contact with. So they work for young people. So the people that create their content are young people. It literally makes sense. This is a really good example of how they've kind of tailored one post to go across 3 platforms. And this question that everyone kind of keeps asking, straight answer to about what platform to use, you can use all 3 platforms. They're all going to be beneficial in some way, but you just need to think about how you're streamlining the process of sharing stuff, I guess, and planning that, like you were saying, Annalie. So if you do one long post for Facebook with the 2 media files here, you translate that to Twitter, with its character limit, and then you do the same for Instagram, but maybe change, or obviously they've kind of used the same, but they've changed it depending on each platform. And I don't think they would have been shared at the same time, maybe, but they will be shared on the same day. And again, which I don't know if we have time to cover, but when you start learning about the engagement on your specific platforms, you'll start understanding the behaviors of people and when's the right time and when's not the right time to post. I'm going to kind of whittle through the rest of these bits just because we're kind of, time is just slipping through our fingers. So like I said before, how to get the most out of the content you've created would be to make sure that you do your research. So choose a group that you admire and look at their content. I do that all the time. Everything is a remix. There's no point of reinventing the wheel. Save time and plan and schedule. So use available tools and oversee the content that's used. We've got a list of resources that I'll share at the end. If you spend one day planning your content for the next week or month, then you'll only have to do that work in one day, and you can kind of delegate tasks to different people. If you know you've got 2 3 events coming up, you can think about the type of content that you want to gather for that. If you're trying to announce a new volunteering opportunity, someone can go out and gather the images, you create the post and you schedule it. It's really important, obviously, to cultivate your audience. So following and engaging with the right people. If you're a parks group, there might not be much point in following, I can't think of an example, food, but I think food is actually quite related to parks. But you know what I mean. You want to be tailoring your content to the same people and audience that you're trying to reach as well. And hashtags, there's so much around hashtags as well. So it's important to find and harness the best hashtags. So I have a couple of notes for each of the platforms that I run. So I run a record label project and then a personal Instagram. And within each one, I've got like a list of hashtags that I use for each post because they'll be tailored to the right people. So they're not all the same. It's not always the same hashtags. They have to be relevant to the things that you're posting. On all 3 platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, you can analyze and track your engagement. I don't know if we'll have time to do that today, but there's loads of videos online that will help you get through that. So it is really important to understand and apply your data. For example, if I'm posting an Instagram on my personal profile, if you go into the insights section, you can see the people that follow you, where they're from, how old they are, but mainly the time and day that they're most active. So if you're then doing a post, you're going to definitely post on that time that they're most active. So then you get the most engagement. That makes sense? And you can do the same for Twitter and the same for Facebook. Facebook has an extremely thorough breakdown of your audience. It's a whole minefield, and I think you need training in itself to understand that. But yeah, it's possible. So yeah, like we spoke about earlier, cross-posting and tailoring content. So planning your content, super important. You'll be so surprised at how long it takes to do a post if you're doing it properly. Or obviously, I know you guys you're doing it already, but I just think planning is just so important. Of course, the tone of voice is important. Messaging must be consistent but not boring. So rule of 3. Share new posts to reach more people. Twitter now have a story feature. So all platforms have story features. So you can share stuff. You could make more content out of content. You can do a post on your Instagram grid and then you can reshare it onto your story. So you've just made 2 pieces of content out of 1 piece of content. And maybe with that story reshare, you add a poll or a GIF or a piece of music. And then, like I said before, engaging with your followers and drafting personal replies go tenfold. That's when you start to gain loyal followers.
Can I just ask about the hashtags, please? Now, Twitter uses them, and I don't know, they all do, but they look horrible on Facebook. That's just a personal opinion, obviously, but Instagram is absolutely made for it, whereas I think they look like a rash on Facebook, frankly. But anyway, fact is, I do use them, but I don't know. I type the hash sign and start typing something like city life or something like that, and there's an autocomplete, and you get told this hashtag has had 1,000 uses or 10,000 uses, but where do they live? That's a bit hit and miss. I want to say something about bikes and parks and cycling safely, say that did actually come up in the park context, and I had no idea where I would find suitable hashtags, so I just started typing them and let the platform complete. That strikes me as being dangerous and not terribly clever.
Yeah, so it's a good question. Unfortunately, maybe we have to get too deep into it, but luckily I have an amazing link of videos that I'll share with you at the end that will go over the specifics of each the hashtags. But generally, so the reason why it's auto-filling it for you is because they're the most popular hashtags, which is good because lots of people are using it, but actually it's not good on the counter because so many people are using the hashtag. Your post is going to be drowned by those hundreds and thousands.
Oh.
Sorry to break it to you, but it's still good. It's still good to use hashtags that are occupied by trending, but you want to basically to be strategic and use a mixture of both. So you could do City Life, which has got 1 million followers, or and then you can do like love or Happy Tuesday, which maybe only have 100. So then you've got a mix of both. That's a very brief answer. It's okay. But with hashtags as well, they should always be updated because there's like maybe like 5 that would always work. So like on Insta, it's like Insta Daily, Insta Pic. But generally they're always changing. The trends that it is something that you have to regularly update. I'm even lazy to do it, so don't worry. Next slide. So I'm rattling through this last bit. I just don't want to keep you guys too late. So this is specific to Instagram, but thinking about automatic subtitles, making sure that your content is accessible, truly accessible. Intersectional representation. So if we are trying to reach Brian, Mandy, and Becca, we need to have people on the platform that look like those people. If you're trying to reach more ethnic minorities, you need to have people who look like those on your platform. If you're trying to reach people with disabilities at different age groups, you need to have people representative. So it's kind of, what it says on the tin, really. Authenticity. I think that's really, really important. I think that is like the main thing which will have, that's what people buy into, the personality of whoever is behind the screen. So I think it's always good to think about it's always good to be authentic. You promote as much as you want, but in the way that you want to promote. Amazing. Cool. Thank you, guys. Sorry to rush through those last bits. Just wanted to keep a little bit of time for questions and just to show you, before I ask questions, the type of resources that we have here and to kind of give you an idea of what they are, just so they don't look like mad links, which they are also. So when we're thinking about creating content and planning and hashtags and all of that stuff, Canva is an amazing tool for creating like posters, and it's got loads of templates. It's free. It's super easy to use, and they've got loads of tutorials on the platform as well. You can get a paid version like everything, but you don't need one. Hootsuite is also an amazing planner, as well as Plannerly. So content planners, if you've never heard of them, or if you have, they are literally what they say on the tin. They're content planners, but they allow you to connect your platforms to them and plan your content for the next week, month, or whatever. And you can schedule what time you want to share it. And if you're busy on Friday night, but you need to share something, it will do it for you. Plannerly, they're both Plannerly and Hootsuite. Again, they want you to pay, but you can use it for free. But if you're really wanting to make the most out of it and you have the budget, then I would suggest maybe getting a limited version of Plannerly. Or you can just make a calendar on Google Sheets to plan it and then just schedule what time people want to post it. So
I mentioned the resource that we were lucky to work with Greenhouse PR when we set up our social media for the foundation and our Your Park channel. A lovely lady there called Julie has voluntarily put together a presentation which is all really quite practical about Facebook and Twitter and how to post and how to use a planner. So she's very kindly put that together. It's sort of referencing what we did for our Your Park account. But I think hopefully people will find it useful because it's quite nuts and bolts and practical. And she also said to us, don't try to do too much. Take either Facebook or Twitter and really try and build a following. but don't, try to do too much too soon. And I found that really, really helpful. Plus, as Josie was saying earlier, look at someone's account that you think that they do it really well, and you can get more inspiration that way. So yeah, we will share that resource from Julie at Greenhouse, because I think that covers quite a lot of the steps to actually do this, and make it less daunting. As long as you know where the delete button, she said, is.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't go wrong.
I can thank
So
you.
important.
It's very true. Thank you, Sue. I can honestly tell you a million horror stories of doing it wrong. I've even spelt people's names wrong on professional programs, and I've been corrected by the people on Instagram. So honestly, you just have to go for it. But like you said, Sue, the delete button's there. Thank the Lord. And back to what you said as well about, not trying to do everything. If you can't manage all 3 platforms, then you shouldn't have all 3 platforms. You should only ever do with what you can manage. So if you want to do something really well, just focus on 1 or 2. Always, always. The worst thing is actually one of the worst things is to have an account that's dead. So if someone's looking for you, oh cool, I want to go see the parks, go onto the parks website, go onto the parks Instagram, and it's got no post yet. You're like, oh okay. They just don't have one. Just don't have an account, or have like a landing page of like 3 images, like coming soon, or just state that you're not active, and then just focus on the ones that you can focus on. So that's definitely advice. And I guess there's no right or wrong answer, but in terms of the parts, my personal opinion would be to get to Instagram. If you're not already there, get there. And they're all amazing platforms, but I would personally say Instagram will take you far. But Facebook is good. Facebook's great, of course, but I know that you're already all on Facebook, and I know that you're already using Facebook well. So if it's about a development as in terms of another platform, it would be for me to Instagram for sure.
Will these links be shared with us? Those ones on contents and planning?
Yeah, these will all be shared with you. This was kind of what I was going to suggest, but generally is hashtags as well. So it's just a bit around hashtags. Okay. When you're posting, thinking about your personas, there's a bit of extra reading here, some Instagram specific. And I guess if you have any more questions, just ask.
Can we have the whole presentation, please, sent to us?
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to thank you to give you the presentation. I'll share the links for the Jamboard as well. So if you have free time, you want to do some more personaing or reference the ones that you've done, then you can do that. And I think
do it with your team. So now it's just the forms. If we have 5 minutes to.
So yeah, so we always try and embed a bit of form doing in the session. I know that asking for forms to be completed after is never usually the thing, but I mean, it's up to you guys. I think I could trust you all to complete some evaluation forms, but if you'd rather stay now and do it for 5 minutes, then that's also cool. But it is still sunny outside, and it's past, so.
Yeah, can I just say big thank you to you and Annalie for a friendly workshop, and thank you to all the participants for joining in and contributing such interesting views. Plus, thank you to our funders, the Isla Foundation, who let us put on these sort of series of training events for park groups. Really appreciate that. And hopefully we'll be able to do more in the future.
Well, thank you so much, Sue. Yeah, I'll send you the forms and I'll let you get on with your amazing evening. Okay. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you.
You all
right.
back.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good evening. Bye.
Bye.